So that leads me to the big announcement today. So tell us what you're doing. The headline that we got from your team is you're launching a streaming service. And then I will be honest, I was like, what is a streaming service? Like, is that like Hulu when I go to my TV, or Apple or Netflix? Or explain what it means and describe the scope of it.
I'm about to make a river joke. It has nothing to do with streams. And as a trout fisherman, that makes me sad. No, it's simply bringing programming to you by subscription digitally. And we're going to be doing that for two reasons. One, X, which has just been an amazing venue for us and will continue to be our venue. And Elon Musk is really great to us. It's not set up for these videos, for example. If you put out a lot of content and we plan, or for subscriptions. I think it will be. I mean, there's a subscription function on X, and I think they're fine tuning it, and I think we're going to participate in that at some point, et cetera, et cetera. But just the way that it's structured, the nature of the app doesn't lend itself to like putting a big library right in front of you on one page. And we want to do that because we have a lot of stuff. And so it's a subscription model, just like any other streaming service or one of these companies with at the end. And the point is really simple. It's twofold. One, you want to bring a lot of material. I hate the word content. I'm trying to think of an option. A lot of material, a lot of news, a lot of facts, a lot of thoughtful opinions to people. You want a library, okay? We had a huge library where we worked before. We lost the whole thing. So we want to rebuild that. And second, you need some scale. I'm not a money person, as you said correctly. I probably should be a little more, but we live pretty simply, actually. So we don't. But anyway, but you need to have a lot of people work for you if you want to gather the information. There are just too many things going on, and so in order to have, a staff capable of bringing a lot of information about what's happening right now, particularly in the next 12 months, which will reshape the world, in my view. You need to pay them, and you need to have a real company. And the downside is, of course, once you have a real company, then the stakes rise. If you're a lone person, whatever, you're more cat-like. You're like the Viet Cong. You can march 20 miles and sleep in a tree. But if you're a company, you're more a fixed position and a fixed target. So there is a downside to it. But we felt that we needed to do it because there's just a lot going on. So it's a subscription service.
Okay, and to get it, people need to go to tuckercarlson.com right now. And as I understand it, they can sign up and they can have this subscription relationship with you for $9 a month or $72 a year, something like that. And in addition, they can still get all the free. They can still get all the free content on X and on an audio podcast that you're dropping.
Exactly. And the X stuff is not going away. And I've just been amazed by what a great platform it's been. And the main, I've noticed the scale of it. I'm sure coming from television, you see this too. It's like the number of people who watch is so dwarfs anything that's happening on linear television. It's like a different world. I know, it's amazing. But the thing that I really notice is how international it is. I mean, it truly is the world's last big free speech platform. I mean, it is that. And so there's something very appealing about that. We took 7 international trips this summer around the world, and I wanted to do that because I've been stuck in the studio for all these years, and I hadn't done it in a long time, since the beginning of the War on Terror, actually. And it just confirmed my belief that everything is changing so fast, particularly America's role in the world. And so we've got, this winter we're traveling around the world to a bunch of different places. We've got a bunch of different interviews and stories that we're doing in various countries, and that's a huge feature of it. And that, a lot of that will appear on X. But you also sort of wonder, I like long form. You now do it for a living, and you know how satisfying it is to talk to someone for more than 8 minutes. You sort of wonder, there's got to be a place that's easier to view than, social media are right now. And so some of that will go on X, and then if you're interested in some other features and documentaries, we're doing a bunch of documentaries. All of that is in the subscription service.
You know what this reminds me of, Tucker? I appeared at some media conference a year ago, and one of the main featured speakers was Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast, he's incredibly successful. He's figured out the YouTube algorithm. Like the head of YouTube was there talking about how he's spoken to this guy, Jimmy, and how he's not just some kid who got lucky on YouTube. Like he figured out the algorithm and started programming to it, and just everything exploded. I think he's got 200 million subscribers now. But one of the ways in which he did it was he appeals to a worldwide audience. He's gone beyond the United States of America, and he produces content that could be interesting across cultures, across languages, and so on. And that's kind of what I see you doing. You're like becoming the Mr. Beast of news.
Well, I would say, I mean, that's a huge compliment because he's been so in the medium. I would just say two things. He works with YouTube. Okay, so he's actually sort of part of their business in a way. I'm not attacking that, but that's a little bit different from what we're doing. And I would also say that he's very self-consciously, non-offensive. He's trying to appeal to his wife. He's Disney
and
trying
you're
to
the
sell
opposite.
a movie in China. So, well, a little bit. I mean, just by, not that I seek to offend people. I really don't. In fact, I think it's wrong to offend people for its own sake. I'm not giving the finger to old ladies at crosswalks. You know what I mean? I actually don't like to offend people.
No, but truth-telling in modern day America can be offensive.
Well, in the modern day world, I mean, what's happening in America looks very much like what's happening in half a dozen other countries I've been to in the last couple of months. I mean, it's the same template. The countries are becoming less democratic. They yelp about democracy constantly. Democracy, we're defending democracy, when in fact, they're creating permanent oligarchies with the help of technology. That's exactly what's happening. And again, not just here. The Anglosphere, they put people in concentration in Australia. They ended free speech in New Zealand and any right to self-defense. Like, these are countries that are becoming authoritarian. Canada killed, in the last few years, has killed over 40,000 of its own citizens through state-administered suicide. Like, there's all this amazing stuff going on. And so to push back against any of it immediately means you're going to be called, let me guess, a racist, and a bunch of other things too. And so it's kind of baked in the cake. Like, you're gonna make people mad if you call them out on what they're doing. That's wrong. But that's kind of the whole point, is because we don't. I mean, and that really is the whole point of the subscriptions. Is like, I mean, I don't know how honest I should probably be here, but Elon never offered me any money or anything, or to hire me or anything like that. But I love him. I think he's wonderful. But it never occurred to me to ask to work for him, because the whole point is not working for anybody. That's like the whole point. And we turned down a couple of opportunities, very generous, and I think they were meant in the best spirit. But just the nature of that arrangement is something that at this stage of my life, I just don't want. I want to wake up and say to myself, you can say whatever you want, within the bounds of what you think is true, your own conscience, whatever, but I'm going to make those calls, and I'm going to do it without interference, period. And I'm going to tell the unadorned truth, and I hope gently and, in as least offensive way as I possibly can. But I'm going to tell that truth until the day I die, and I really mean that. And I'm going to try to do it in my personal life too. It's one of my things that I've resolved to do until I die, because I think that's the answer. I really do.
This is the only way for you. This is the only way forward. And if you zoom out, and then we looked at 94 at Tucker Carlson's career, when we look back at 53, which I think you were when the Fox decision came down, it will be the best thing that ever happened to you. It'll be a great thing for America.
I think so.
You look at the stats. We just had numbers out today. In fact, my team pulled these for me, and I thought they were very interesting on what cable's doing, what broadcast is doing right now. And I know that it's a dying business, but the stats actually show it, just not for nothing, but take a listen to this. The headline at The Verge is, it's official, people are not watching TV as much as they used to. Linear TV now accounts for less than 50% of all TV usage. So, you got a TV in your house, you turn it on, you have all sorts of options. You can turn on cable, you can turn on your broadcast television networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, or you can or you can go to Apple, you can go to Hulu, you can go to Netflix, you can go to Amazon Prime, or you can go to YouTube. You have all different, Rumble, you have different options there now. And those different options are now dominating the more than 50%. Cable and linear television entirely, never mind news, are dying. So you've left a dying animal, and you've gotten on top of this new exciting horse, and you're going to ride it off into the sunset all the way to your dying day, Tucker. And I think you're going to be an important voice, even more so than you were. Debt. You can go to bed thinking about it. You can wake up thinking about it. It can haunt you throughout the day. High interest credit cards and loans make it nearly impossible to pay off your debt. And insane inflation keeps you stuck paycheck to paycheck. The system traps you in debt. Donewithdebt.com can be a lifeline, the lifeline of a lifetime. I've talked about my own experience with debt in the past, so believe me, I know what it feels like. It's been a while, but I remember very well. Donewithdebt.com has a new strategy to help erase your debt faster and easier than you ever thought possible. And here's what they can do for you. Analyze all the debt options you qualify for, minimize interest rates, cut medical bills, and reduce debt without bankruptcy and without a loan. But you need to hurry. Some debt solutions are time sensitive. Go to donewithdebt.com, find out how easy they make it, and find out if it's right for you. Donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.